What's up, guys? UFC Philadelphia, and pretty decent card, better than last week. Last week's card was absolutely horrendous. I believe there were three finishes, two of which were women's fights. That being said, let's get on to the card. We got Alex Perez versus Marco De La Rosa. I believe Perez actually opened up at a minus 185 favorite, and is currently at minus 310 right now. Some decent money has come in on him, which means that definitely drove the lineup. I believe the fight is a lot closer than the odds make it out to be. That being said, I'm going to move on to breakdowns. Alex is moving up from 125 to 135 pounds. Prior to that, he has won four of his last five fights, dominating wins over Eric Shelton, guys like Jose Shorty Torres, before being knocked out by Joseph Benavidez in his last fight. There was about 45 seconds left in the first round, and he got caught with a shot, and that's all she wrote. De La Rosa has some nasty Brazilian jiu-jitsu, although he was submitted by Tim Elliott via Anaconda choke 3 fights back. Perez should win this fight handedly. He's got better grappling and smoother top game. This fight should go the distance most likely. My pick is Perez by decision. All right, guys, next up we got Sabina Mazo versus Marina Moroz. Very quick breakdown on this one. There's not too much fight footage on Sabina. From what I've seen, she has some nasty head kicks from what I can find on her. There's just not enough fight footage out there to get a steady read on this fight. What I know about Marina, she's a decent fighter. She has had her moments in the UFC. In this type of situation, it's a dog or pass type of bet. You take the underdog, or you just pass on it altogether. I believe this is basically a coin flip type of fight. And if it's a 50-50 fight, you want to put your money on the underdog or on nobody at all. That being said, my pick is Marina Moroz by decision. All right, Ray Borg versus Kyler Phillips. Ray Borg is moving up to 135 pounds. Since the 125-pound division is basically being dissolved. And he's also given up quite a bit of a size advantage to Kyler Phillips as well. Phillips is a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Only 23, though, still kind of a kid. He's got nice calf kicks. Recently had a highlight reel head kick knockout. But he tends to fade later into the fight. I've noticed in his last couple bouts he's faded a little bit, except for that head kick knockout. As I said before, Borg is moving up in weight. But as we've seen, the fighters moving up in weight classes have exceeded tremendously. I mean, who saw Pettis knocking out Wonderboy last week? I didn't. My wallet especially didn't. I mean, if Borg can just implement his wrestling and his clinch work, he should be able to pull out the W. That being said, I'm going to lean Ray Borg decision. All right, guys, next up, Kevin Holland versus Gerald Meerschaert. All right, Holland, he's the younger, stronger, more athletic, faster fighter, point blank, simple. He's just all around better in my opinion. The current odds are at minus 200 right now for Holland. I thought he would have been a little bit higher in the minus 200s or high minus 200s, maybe low 300s. But Meerschaert is a tough dude. Now he trains over at a Rufus Sport with Anthony Pettis and all them. But to bet on Meerschaert is just the wrong play in my opinion. It's Holland or pass. If the odds get over minus 200 range, you might want to rethink taking Holland. I think that's way too much juice to lay. So if it gets over minus 200, I would stay away from it. Anything minus 200 under, I would jump on it. My pick is Kevin Holland. Next up, we got Kevin Aguilar versus Enrique Barzola. This is a coin flip fight. I really do have no clue who's going to win this fight. I mean, Enrique Barzola has, great wrestling, not so good top game, but he will take you down. Just can't keep you down. Both guys like to trade in the pocket. As you know, Kevin Aguilar is coming off that unanimous decision win to Rick Glenn. He's the dude off the Contender series. He beat Joey Gomez in a split decision, as you can see right there. Now over to Enrique Barzola, his past couple fights. He is a UFC vet. We got him 15-3. His last fight was against Brandon Davis, which is a tough dude, and he won that unanimously. Then before that was Matt Bissett, nothing special, and Gabriel Benitez, who is, in my opinion, a jobber. That being said, my pick on this one is Enrique Barzola. I do think that his UFC veterism is going to get him the W in this one. Kevin Aguilar is a tough dude, but I am leaning Enrique Barzola. All right, next up, Ross Pearson versus Desmond Green. Classic grappler versus striker matchup. Ross Pearson being the striker, Desmond Green being the grappler, wrestler. As you can see, Ross Pearson has lost 5 of his last 6 fights. He lost to Will Brooks, who's no longer with the company anymore. Jorge Masvidal, who obviously is a stud at 170 right now. Stevie Ray is garbage. Dan Hooker's a good fighter. He beat Mizuto Hirota, who's garbage. And he lost to John McDessie, who in my opinion is garbage. I mean, yeah, he did win last week against Jesus Pinedo, but who's Jesus Pinedo? You know what I mean? Desmond Green's going to take him down and just grind him out. The odds are through the roof, and I think justifiably so. So Desmond Green for unanimous decision. All right, next up, we got the women's strawweight matchup, Marina Rodriguez versus Jessica Aguilar. Jessica Aguilar is just about to be 37 years old, and she's taken this on 1 week's notice. It's a short notice fight for her. It's a simple breakdown, really. Depending on what the odds are, I'm going to fade Aguilar. I might put a small bet on Marina. That's depending on the odds. If they're through the roof, I'm just going to stay away from it. I haven't seen the odds yet. They haven't came out. That being said, oh, wait. Looks like the odds are coming out as we speak. Okay, Marina is a minus 315. Minus 315, I will not touch, and I will not parlay her. I'm staying away from this fight. That's way too much juice, and I'm not touching that. But the pick's Marina Rodriguez to beat Jessica Aguilar. I mean, she's just getting too old. And in Marina's last fight against Randa Marcos, that was a draw. Great fight. And Randa Marcos would beat Jessica Aguilar handedly. So my pick's Marina Rodriguez. All right, next up, very exciting fight between Sodiq Yusuff and Shaman Moraes. I don't see this one going the distance. I believe these two are just going to sit in the pocket and trade. Shaman Moraes is known for that. Sodiq Yusuff is a great striker as well. This is basically like what I say is a 50-50 fight at Pick'em. And Pick'em fights, I'm always going to pick the underdog. You know what I mean? You get more money value. It makes 0 sense to go the opposite way on it, in my opinion, unless you actually think that guy's going to win the fight. I believe Shaman Moraes is going to win this fight. I believe he's going to catch Sodiq. Sodiq just came off his first fight in the UFC against Suman Mokhtarian. Before that, he was fighting in the Contender Series. You know what I mean? And that being said, he didn't even get a finish in the Contender Series. He went to a decision, so I don't even know why they signed him. So my pick will be Shaman Moraes. I believe he gets it done inside the distance, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes all 3. Pick Shaman Moraes. Next up, another grappler versus striker. Paul the Bear Jew Craig versus Kennedy. Sorry, Kennedy. Nikanyachu. Cannot pronounce that last name. Paul Craig in his last fight, I cashed big on Jim Crute. Jim Crute put it to him. But that's just making up for that last second submission against Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, Magomed was taking it to Paul Craig until he slapped on that triangle choke with like 7 seconds left. It wasn't even an air choke. It was just a quick tap. He got scared, just tapped real quick. It's not even like he ran out of air. So if he didn't win that fight, he would have been on a 4-fight losing streak. Tyson Pedro, Khalil Roundtree. I mean, he's lucky he still has his papers in the UFC. I'm all over Kennedy right now. I got him at a decent price. Right now he's at minus 225. I would not take Paul Craig in this matchup. The only way he has to win this fight is if he snatches up another slip on a banana submission type thing. That being said, the pick is Kennedy, unless he slips on a banana into a guillotine choke or some sort of rear naked choke. Again, the pick is Kennedy. I'm not going to even try to pronounce your last name, buddy. All right, next up, Carolina versus the karate hottie Michelle Waterson. 2 chicks I would love to call Mrs. Harrington. It's a very easy pick. Not easy pick. My pick's for Michelle Waterson. I believe that she is growing leaps and bounds over fighters. Carolina hasn't looked good in her last fight. Before that, I mean, she fought Felice Herrig. Easy win. Then she fought the midget Jody Escobar. I mean, come on. Jody's nothing. And then she lost to Claudia and Joanna before that. So Michelle Waterson, I believe, is a step up from her last 2 opponents. And like I said, she's been improving tremendously. I do believe that the karate hottie will get it done. and then I will propose to her on Instagram. So my pick is Michelle Waterson, unanimous decision. This fight does go the distance. It does not see. It does see 3 rounds. All right, next up we got ourselves a barn burner here. I got Michael Johnson versus Josh Emmett. Johnson's just coming off a unbelievable performance against the GOAT, Artem Lobov. That was a joke, as you guys know. Artem Lobov is a fucking bum, excuse my language. Before that, he beat Andre Fili. I had Johnson in that fight, and in my opinion, he might have lost it. I won money, I cashed on that bet, but I think Andre Fili edged that one out. That being said, Emmett's coming off that devastating knockout to Jeremy Stephens, so who knows where his head's at. Coming back, I don't know. It's a tough fight. I mean, I would flip a coin and just heads or tails it, but I would not bet this fight. But I would lean Josh Emmett. Alrighty, we got David Branch versus Jack Hermasson. Very, very tough fight to call, in my opinion. David Branch is coming off a knockout in the second round to Jared Cannonier. Before that, though, he had knocked out Thiago Santos in the first rounds, who was fighting John Jones in July, I believe. It's a tough one. David Branch, I mean, if he just implements his wrestling and takes him down and grinds him out, maybe snatches a submission, I believe it's all his. If he keeps it on the feet, I mean, Jack will probably knock him out. It all depends on, what these fighters, what kind of game plans they're going to bring to the table. I mean, David Branch really needs a W, so I think he's going to play this one smart and use his wrestling and take him down, ground and pound. And like I said, try to snap on a choke or something like that. But me and my buddy MMA fortune teller have been going back and forth on this one. He thinks Jack's going to knock out David Branch, and I can see that happening too. I'm going to lean David Branch, though. I'm going to say that David Branch's grappling skills and his wrestling is going to overwhelm Jack, and he's going to get the W. I don't see this going, though, the full distance. I see Jack either knocking out David, or I see David subbing or even knocking out Jack, so I don't see this one going the distance as well. But my pick is David Branch. All right, we got the main event, the fight of the night, Justin Gaetjhe versus Edson Barboza. Both guys throw heavy leg kicks, but as we know, Edson Barboza's leg kicks are probably a little bit heavier. His high kicks are on a different level. I mean, Gaethje's coming off that knockout to James Vick in the first. I mean, a lot of people were high on James Vick. I was never. I think he leaves his chin wide open for everybody to land bombs on. I mean, he's coming off that Dustin Poirier knockout in the fourth, and then Eddie Alvarez in the third. It was a legal knee, though, I believe, I want to say. No, that was with Dustin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez. That being said, that's my dog in the background, excuse me. Bless you. You got one more in you? All right. That being said, before that he beat Michael Johnson and then Luis Firmino in World Series of Fighting. But I don't think Gaethje's on Edson Barboza's level, especially since all the damage he's been taking. I mean, that guy is a rock'em sock'em robot. He's a Fight of the Year candidate every time he steps in the ring. I just don't think that he can hang with Edson when it comes to the kicking department. You know what I mean? I feel like he's just gonna beat those legs up, maybe land a body kick, head kick. But I can see Justin knocking Edson out. You know what I mean? Maybe implementing his wrestling. Maybe he can fight a smart fight for once and take him down and grind him out, kind of like Khabib did. But who knows? But my pick is Edson Barboza on this one. I think he does get the W. I think his gas tank will be a little bit better if it does go into the later rounds as well. I don't think it will, though. But again, my pick is Edson Barboza. All right, guys. That concludes everything. Thank you for listening. Again, please check me out on cappertech.com. That's CAPPERTEK.com. Since last week, my winning ratio actually went up. I was 2 for 2 last week. Cashed in over 11 units. I mean, come on, guys. Jump on the money train. Again, it's MrFatFist on Instagram. No period. No spaces. Just MrFatFist. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. Let's cash these bets.